video needs to be the follow-up of last week ones. I actually received a very good question related to how you would find out what are the needs of the organization. Just to remind everyone, last week we talked about how the needs of the organization are actually more important than yours. And so one of you guys have asked me, okay, I hear you. How do I find out what are the needs of my organization? So here is where you start. You start from the top. Every year, typically, organization create strategic agendas and objectives, imperatives. They are called in different ways in different organizations, but the C-suite, bottom line, tells you very, very clearly what are the areas of focus for the overall organization, okay? Sometimes there are long-term strategies that maybe last for 5 years or so, on top of operational objectives that are maybe more yearly, right? But by just looking at what the C-suite is telling you, basically they are building the compass of where they want the organization to be in the medium term. Let me just call it medium term, okay? So that's a very good first source of information where you can try to understand what the needs of the organization are, and typically when these things are rolled out, there is typically a town hall meeting or anyway some sort of communications that I would encourage you to look at very, very close in order to understand where the CEO and the C-suite is trying to bring the organization. That's number one. Then I would say step number 2 is have this conversation with your boss. And if you can, even with your manager once removed, you don't have to do this super often, maybe quarterly, for example, with the manager once removed especially. People that are above you in the organization, by definition, have a broader scope and they are having more information related to the big picture of the organization. So with these individuals, a very good idea is to have conversations around how can I serve? How is my role connected with this? This is invaluable, right? Helping you understand which piece of the puzzle you are in the overall picture is super, super important. By the way, I mean, if they don't have a great answer, there are 2 things that can happen. Either your manager is still struggling to understand where they fit and maybe they have some growth opportunity themselves, or sometimes the reality is just that they are not in a function that is serving the core of what the organization is driving towards, and that is anyway a signal, right? Because if you want to accelerate your career and have roles of high visibility, those are not the areas, honestly, where you want to be, okay? And so that's the second source of information. The third source of information, something that probably not many people think immediately of, but I cannot stress how important this one actually is people that are a little bit higher in the organization than you. So think about your manager's peers and your manager once removed peers that are not directly on your managerial line, but they are close enough to help you understand what are the pieces of the puzzles around you. In order to understand that you are, I don't know, let's say the flower in a puzzle, right? Maybe you are a petal, right? You cannot see that is a flower, but if you start seeing that everyone is a petal around you, guess what? Ooh, we are a flower. Does it make sense? Maybe it's a bit of a silly example, but hopefully that helps you understand. And so don't disregard the information that you can get, not only from the people that are literally above you, but also from the ones that are up and out a little bit, right? This can give you very, very good information of how your department, your unit, your function fits in the bigger picture without maybe going to the level of the C-suite. So those would be my three sources: CEO and C-suite with strategic imperatives and objectives, your manager and your manager once removed, in order to have conversation of exactly how you fit into those needs of the organization and which role you can play. And third one, equally important, don't forget about these, the peers of your manager and your manager once removed, so that you can also understand a little bit the wider reason why your function even exists and how it can support the needs of the organization. With that, I really hope I answered this very important question. Thank you for submitting it. I really appreciate the feedback that maybe this is something that wasn't clear from last week. Keep it coming. I love answering your questions. So I am Simona Pappalardo, and I'm a coach who helps overworked and overwhelmed managers become authentic and confident leaders who create success for themselves, their teams, and their organization at large. If you have liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I talk to you soon. Bye!